What are you? Is a question that was asked a lot from peers, coworkers, prospective dates, and strangers. If they were trying to be sensitive, they would ask, "What's your ethnicity?" or "Where are you and your family from?" My mother's 59 years old and still gets asked this question, as does my sister, who is 27. For my sister, who is close to my age, and myself, this line of questions has mostly stopped. We often comment on how confused we are that for 2/3 of our life, from childhood through our 20s, we are treated like we are different. Not black, not white, something else that required explanation. What are you? For the early part of our life, my sister and I were raised in a military family, the Navy, which meant a lot of moving to coastal cities, but North Carolina was always home. My mom's side of the family is deeply rooted in the Lumbee tribe, the largest tribe in North Carolina. So there were many trips to that area, Lumberton, North Carolina, to visit grandma, uncles, aunts, cousins, and for family reunions. The Lumbee tribe is very mixed in itself, and that is not something you bring up in polite conversation. My father's Caucasian. We never spent much time with my dad's side of the family, so most of our identity came from our mother's side. We'd go to powwows, visit tobacco farms that some of my mom's cousins worked, and all of my great aunts and uncles at one time worked. And once a year there would be a family reunion, usually in Lumberton, North Carolina. When Dad got out of the Navy in '89, we settled back in North Carolina, in Charlotte. It was then that it became painfully obvious that people viewed us as being different, and we, my sister and I, were constantly asked to explain why we looked the way we did. Some people didn't even bother with a question, they'd just tell us to go back where we came from. I would like to share with you some personal stories. When I was 19, I worked the front desk in an OBGYN, and I had a patient who got upset and called me a black, white, whatever. When I was in grade school, if there was ever a field trip that had anything to do with Native Americans, museum trips to look at Native American art, nature centers, all the Native American kids in the school got to go, which was me, my sister, and this other kid. And the other kid got to be called Hairless Monkey because he seemingly had no body hair, so I got the title Monkey Girl. I was once sitting in a coffee shop in my early 20s, and a perfect stranger was reading the paper, and he turned to ask me what I was. I gave him my standard answer at the time, which my mother is Lumbee Indian. And he said, "Oh, does she work at the casino?" I used to work for a company that made keepsake videos out of pictures, and we were doing a promo for a funeral home. So naturally, I used pictures of my family because I had a lot of them, and my boss had to come tell me that I had to redo the video with pictures of his family because my family wasn't white enough. What are you? Lumbee offered an explanation that already fit the narrative in their head, even though it was only part of the picture. I am proud of that part of me, but I am also proud of all the other contributions my ancestors made that make me who I am. We are black, white, native, and so much more. My sister texted me Heinz 57 as an explanation. I had to look that one up in Urban Dictionary. My mom just responds, "I'm 100% American," if someone asks her. Or she sighs and shakes her head. On the eve of my 40th birthday, I feel so far removed from the days when we would be carted off in the back of my grandfather's pickup truck with my siblings and cousins into tobacco country to go to a powwow. And as an almost 40-something, my sister and I rarely get asked to explain why we look the way we do. And I would dare say that we have somehow entered into an era of privilege that is usually only granted to white people. But imagine a world where 100% American is a satisfactory answer and we are not asked to quantify what we are made up of as a means to judge us on our self-worth. Thanks for listening.